Yo, what's up, guys? A lot of people asked me to do like a little video talking about endless delve, and I figured I'd do a quick little my thoughts, what builds I think are going to be pretty good for it, and what you should be aiming to do depending on your goals. So, looking at the endless delve event, we're given some uniques to start off with. None of them are really too insane. There's some things that are like notably quite cool, like maybe the bow, projectiles return you from the final target, and also the quiver that you get from that. 25% of weapon physical damage is extra. That's alright if you want to start bows. But the most notable thing about these weapons is this sword here, I think, which gives AoE frenzy, chance to gain frenzy on kill, and movement speed per frenzy charge. And the frenzy on kill won't really affect you as a miner, but I think this weapon is going to be really strong for miners to start off with. It's not going to be your end game weapon by any means, but pretty good because if you're using charged mines and you have +1 frenzy charge, that's going to be really good for your build because of your mine throwing speed in general is just going to be buffed by that, as well as getting 4% more damage and more movement speed increase. So that'll be really good. One thing to know is that you'll be able to spam create characters to get these weapons continuously, so you can actually like corrupt them later on, which is pretty cool because you already have 3 white sockets on them. You're not going to be restricted by the socket colors or anything like that, since you're not going to be able to change them. You know, seeing as there's no crafting bench or anything like that. So yeah, you can get a bunch of those. That's pretty cool. But that will by no means be your endgame weapon. Little note there that I think corrupting this league is going to be one of the most overpowered things, since for the most part there's not too many damage affixes you can get on gear without influence spaces and without means for crafting with the bench and things like that. So what you're going to be doing is most likely just dropping random things, say helmets, right? And you're just going to be corrupting them for +1 power charge, or dropping random gloves and corrupting them for +1 frenzy or spell crit or attack crit or anything like that. Aside for those, there's not many things that you'll want to be corrupting, since chest wise it's going to be really difficult to get links, so corrupting those for gem sockets or anything like that, I think it's going to be pretty bad. Although you might actually just want to corrupt them to try to get a 6 link early. You might get really lucky by corrupting chests and getting a 6 link, but I personally have never actually done that, so I don't really know how viable of a strategy that is to getting your 6th link. To also keep in mind that you're going to be stuck into colors and you're not going to be able to bench craft it to different colors, so I think overall it's just a flawed strategy and you shouldn't go for it. In regards to everything else that they've announced in the event, there's no prophecies, there's no divination cards, there's basically nothing aside for just endless delve, which makes this event quite literally like something that we've never really had practice with as delvers. So it's completely different to anything we've ever done, and it's really hard to plan for, even though I've spent over 4,000 hours in the delve mines. Although I could sort of have an idea of what builds are going to be performing well-ish with very little investment, since I've league started as a delver many times in the past, and I've had to go through the struggles of building up your gear through just delving. So I have a couple of builds here. I will link these in the description, but basically these builds are very generic, just trees. They're by no means builds for a specific skill gem, because I don't think you should build around that. I think building around a specific skill gem might not end up being the most valid strategy, since we don't quite know how well performing some skills are with how little gear, or since you're going to be very gated behind RNG and what you drop, you might want to have a flexible tree that you can then adapt to a different skill gem depending on what you drop in the delve mines. So the first tree is just a generic attack miner on a Deadeye. Attack miners have been not really strong, as you could probably seen ice shot mines dominate in the past. Recently it's been taken over by brand builds and icicle mines, but I think I think brand and icicle mines have really sort of like surpassed attack mines because of the fact that new gear has come out through, you know, let's say clusters or like replica uniques and things like that, which have sort of like made them a lot better than attack mines to some regard. Although I think they might make a return in this league, since generally they're very, very low investment and they're very smooth sailing up until like 2000 delve, depending on what items you can actually get your hands on. With a Death's Harp, you can already get very, very good crit multi and just a couple of arrows and you'll pretty much be off. Also, notably, there's a lot of cool corruptions that you can get for bow gems. Well, not for bow gems, but for bows in general. Like, say you drop random quivers, you just corrupt them for +1 arrow. That's pretty cool. Or you could get chain as well, which gives you 10% more damage from Deadeye, which is also pretty cool. Another build that I was looking at is still brands. Brands are going to be not as good as they are in League, obviously, because clusters kind of, to some extent, carry them. Having Holy Conquest really helps you clear, and having, say, like brand loyalty for Stormbrand gives you very, very big attachment range, and yeah, you're gonna be kind of like gated behind that, and clearing nodes is gonna be a little bit difficult. You're gonna have to be more inside of the node, frost walling yourself in order to, you know, clear the node rather than completely off-screening everything, since Holy Conquest is not going to take care of your clear there. So I think for this build, I was speaking with Jesse, and Jesse wanted to go for Archmage, and I think Archmage is a very valid strategy, since Archmage is just going to give us a lot of flat damage, and flat damage is going to be really hard to get because we're going to have very little access to, you know, very good uniques and things like that. So you're just going to scale your damage just by scaling the mana, which you can get on the tree. And generally, I think mana is a much more common role on gear, which you can get on mostly any piece as well. So say you drop a helmet, generally a helmet doesn't have much except for defensive stats, but mana is always present within those items. So just getting mana and being able to roll with Lucent Fossils is just going to be a DPS increase for your build. I think this build might be really good, but it's also going to be kind of difficult to play around with, since you're going to have sort of not as good clear and not as good off-screening potential, potentially giving you less success rate on certain nodes. Another build I was looking at was just, this is essentially just a generic Saboteur. This build can also be modified to be, say, like, imagine you don't want to go for like very deep ZHP strategies, right? You could instead just edit this tree and add life nodes here and there, and you'll be pretty well off. But generic, like this, I wanted to make it just a generic Saboteur tree, to sort of make it very flexible for whatever skill gem you want to use. So I added the support gems in there, and you can so choose to just try around any skill gem. You can put them in your offhand and level up like 6 different spells, so you can just try them out. And this is very flexible, because no matter what you pick, you're going to be able to change it around, so long as you have a little bit of fire damage to proc Searing Heat. And yeah, this can also be modified to be played with different ascendancies. Say you wanted to be a Scion, right? You could just path down to here. You could take that jewel socket and you could go through there, right? You just drop this, and you might have to drop a couple of nodes, obviously. Same thing with Inquisitor. I think Inquisitor is a very strong ascendancy, but you're gonna also path through there, and then through there or something. Like you could just find a way to just edit the tree a little bit to choose the Ascendancy you choose, because I think if you want to go for a Demi, but you also think that you're not going to be able to do that on a popular Ascendancy, this is probably a good way to do that. Just pick a generic tree and just play that. However, I would like to finally say that for most people that will not be exactly competing for Demis, you should just play a normal build. Just a normal, comfortable league starting build that doesn't require any gear, say an SSF build. This video here by Zizarin, a Blade Blast, Bladefall Assassin. Very good, it's a poison tree. You don't need much gear at all to get this started. It's very, very, very easy to get started, and it's very, very good for this league, and you're gonna be able to get pretty far with it so long as you're like playing carefully. And yeah, I think it's a very, very good build, and I think this is probably one of the what I would pick if I didn't want to go ZHP. This is a very good build. Another build you could play is at the start of Heist League I made a Toxic Rain Miner. There's some uniques in there that you won't be able to get right, but you could just swap the uniques out for generic rares. It's not too big of a deal. You're gonna lose a bit of defense. Overall, I think it's still gonna be strong, still gonna be easy to start with, and yeah. And finally, I'd like to also link to Badger's video. He has 19 builds for Endless Delve, and yeah, he goes through the builds there. He's got an Elementalist, Quad Herald BV, Volatile Dead, Vortex, Bladefall, Poison, GC, TR, Splitting Steel, so on and so forth. So that's a good video to sort of look at if you wanna see if there's some more easy builds that are not ZHP. Overall, I'd like to say that not many people are going to get very deep. I think people think they're going to be able to blast all the way to 3k. That is in no way gonna happen. I think 1.5k is probably the deepest anyone's going to go in softcore. Although I might be completely wrong. People tend to actually exceed expectations, and you know, there's some people out there like Jesse, which are probably gonna come up with some insane strategies. But I'd like to also tell you guys that for the most part, myself, Jesse, and all the delvers, we're sort of lost, just like you guys. We're gonna figure it out as it comes. We're just gonna play, gonna make generic trees, and we're gonna push, and whatever comes to us, whatever we drop, whatever luck brings us, we're gonna sort of like take that to the next stage, since this is a very new and fresh event that nobody's ever sort of played in. But yeah, that's sort of like what's really exciting about this event, is that it's just a completely new game, practically. Like, let's just say, because you just don't have access to your hideout, and you're just at the mercy of luck, which to some extent I feel like luck might gate you, and it might sort of like, you know, cock block you a bit, but it's gonna be great, boys. It's gonna be so much fun. I'm gonna be streaming the entire event, so you can always come check me out at on Twitch, you know. I'll put the link in the description, and I'll also put the link in the description for all the trees. I'm sorry I couldn't go into very specific builds, because I don't really want to deceive you guys into thinking that you can play whatever build and just chuck on these uniques, you're good. You know, all the builds are bare. You're just going to be putting on whatever you find. You're going to put on floor rares, and you're going to love them, because they're going to carry you through the game, and hopefully you'll have a lot of fun doing that. So yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you all. Hope to see you on stream. And I hope you have a great Delve event. And yeah, and a great day. Peace out, boys. Love you all.